Most people believe that defending yourself makes you stronger, that if someone attacks your character, you must respond. That silence means weakness. That explanation equals dignity. They are wrong, and the moment you truly understand why, something inside you will shift permanently. Section 1. The problem most people face. There is a quiet war happening inside most people every single day. Someone says something, a comment, a criticism, a rumor, a look, and immediately the mind ignites. The chest tightens. The thoughts begin to race. What did they mean by that? Should I say something? I need to clarify. I need to defend myself. I need them to understand. This is the trap. And almost everyone falls into it, not because they are weak, but because no one ever taught them what real psychological power actually looks like. Look honestly at your life. How many times have you lost sleep over a conversation you replayed in your head? How many times have you explained yourself to someone who had already made up their mind about you? How much of your energy have you handed to people who never deserved it in the first place? The answer for most of us is too many times to count. Section 2. Why most people react instead of think. Reaction is biological. When we feel threatened, socially, emotionally, reputationally, the brain processes it almost identically to physical danger. The same ancient system that kept our ancestors alive in the wilderness now fires when a colleague undermines us in a meeting. But here is what nobody tells you. Your reaction does not protect you. It exposes you. Every time you react, you hand someone a map of your vulnerabilities. You show them exactly which buttons to press. You tell them, without words, that they have power over your inner world. Think about this. The person who provokes you is not always your enemy, but your uncontrolled response? That always is. Section 3. The Stoic Wisdom. Marcus Aurelius wrote this in private in a journal he never intended for public eyes. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. He was not speaking abstractly. He was the most powerful man in the known world, surrounded by betrayal, criticism, political enemies, and personal grief, and he chose deliberately not to be moved. This is the foundation of Stoic philosophy. Not coldness, not indifference, but a radical, disciplined choice about where your energy flows. The Stoics called it equanimity, a stillness so deep that the chaos outside cannot reach what is inside. It is not the absence of emotion, it is the mastery of it. Epictetus, who was born a slave and died a free philosopher, said it plainly. Men are disturbed not by things, but by the opinions about things. The event itself is neutral. What you tell yourself about it, that is where your suffering or your power begins. Section 4. The Psychological Trap. Here is where it gets deeper. When you explain yourself, especially to someone who does not respect you, you are not defending your reputation. You are feeding their ego. You are confirming that their judgment of you matters. You are stepping into a courtroom where they are both judge and jury. Carl Jung observed that people often project their own inner darkness onto others. The person who accuses you of arrogance is often concealing their own. The one who calls you cold is frequently the one incapable of warmth. When you engage with projection, you do not clarify, you absorb. Pause for a moment and let that settle. The need to be understood by everyone is not a virtue. It is an anxiety wearing the mask of principle. The truly secure person does not require external validation to feel internally whole. Section 5. The Mindset Shift. So what is the alternative? Silence. Not the silence of defeat, but the silence of someone who has decided that their peace is non-negotiable. Not engaging is not the same as not caring. It is a choice, a deliberate, conscious, powerful choice. It says, I know who I am. Your confusion about me is not my emergency. This is the mindset shift. You stop trying to control how people see you and start controlling how deeply you allow them to affect you. Your character is not built in arguments. It is built in actions over time, in the quiet accumulation of integrity that speaks louder than any explanation ever could. Section 6. Real-life examples. Imagine this situation. You are at work. A colleague takes credit for your idea in a meeting. The room shifts. Everyone looks at you, waiting. The reactive mind fires immediately. You want to correct, to assert, to prove. But the untouchable mind does something different. It observes. It stores the information. It continues to perform with excellence. Because it knows that consistency is a far more powerful argument than confrontation. Over time, the truth does not need your help. It arrives on its own. Or consider social pressure. Someone in your circle begins to mock your ambition. They laugh at your discipline, your silence, your refusal to waste time. And there is a pull to justify yourself, to explain why you are different, to make them understand. But understand this, you cannot explain vision to someone who is committed to remaining comfortable. And the attempt will cost you more than their approval ever would have given you. Socrates stood before Athens and refused to compromise his philosophy to save his own life, not from arrogance, but from a deep understanding that some things cannot be traded without destroying the self entirely. Section 7. Deeper philosophy. Seneca wrote, Omnia aliena sunt, tempus tantum nostrum est. Everything is alien to us. Only time truly belongs to us. If time is your only real possession, then your attention is its currency. And every reaction, every unnecessary explanation, every engagement with people who do not operate in good faith, that is theft. You are allowing others to rob you of the one thing that cannot be replaced. Aristotle spoke of eudaimonia, a deep, active flourishing of the human soul. Not happiness as pleasure, but as the full expression of your highest capacities. You cannot flourish while perpetually defending yourself. The energy required for growth and the energy spent on reaction cannot coexist in the same space. The untouchable person is not someone without feeling. They feel deeply, but they have learned to feel without becoming their feelings. They have built an interior life so rich and so grounded that the noise outside cannot penetrate it. Section 8. Questions for the viewer. Ask yourself honestly, how much of your energy this week went toward managing other people's perceptions of you? How much mental space is occupied by conversations that have already ended? How many times did you explain yourself and feel no better afterward? And here is the deeper question, one worth sitting with. If you were completely secure in who you are, completely at peace with your path, completely certain of your direction, would you feel the need to defend yourself at all? If this kind of reflection resonates with you, consider subscribing. This channel exists for people who take their inner life seriously. Section 9. The long-term advantage. Here is what most people miss. The person who never reacts is not passive. They are accumulating something invisible and extraordinarily powerful. Presence. Gravity. The kind of authority that does not announce itself, but is felt the moment they enter a room. People who master this become unpredictable to those who wish to manipulate them. You cannot destabilize someone who is already still. You cannot wound someone who no longer outsources their worth to your opinion. Over months and years, this practice compounds. The energy once spent on reaction becomes available for creation, for discipline, for depth. The mind that was once a battlefield becomes a sanctuary. And that sanctuary makes everything possible. There is a version of you that exists beyond the noise, beyond the need for approval, beyond the anxiety of being misunderstood, beyond the exhausting game of managing how the world sees you. That version is not cold. They are clear. They do not react, not because nothing touches them, but because they have built something inside that the outside world simply cannot reach. Marcus Aurelius asked himself every morning what it would look like to live in full accordance with his nature, with reason, with purpose, with stillness. That question belongs to you now. Not reacting is not silence, it is authority. Not explaining is not defeat, it is dignity. Not engaging is not weakness, it is wisdom. Become untouchable, not by building walls, but by building depth. The quieter you become, the more you are able to hear. And the more you are able to hear, the less anything outside of you will ever control what happens within you. That is where true power lives. And it has been waiting for you all along.